Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our latest webinar session on the new Level 4 AI and Automation Apprenticeship and how we at the Coders Guild can help you build your in-house capabilities. We'll aim to leave a little time for a Q&A at the end, so please add your comments and questions and thoughts into the LinkedIn chat. Francesco and Alex will be there in the comments to help if you have any live queries, and we'll join you at the end for that. I'll pass over to Crispin now for the session.
Great stuff. Thanks, Rob. Here we go. Here's my slide. So I start with a graph. This is a graph that Anthropic put out last month before. Now, if you look at that graph, what it's showing is the blue area is what current large language models and AI is capable of, and then the red area is what it's actually being used for. And you can see that enormous difference. And the blue area, right, that's what we could be doing. And we don't all need to be there. We don't all need to be at the bleeding edge of AI adoption. We don't all need to be unicorn tech giants. But what that does show us is there's an enormous amount of productivity and efficiency that is being left on the table. The other thing that's on this slide is a thing that I talk about a lot. That this is there was a couple of studies, one from McKinsey and one from Be the Business, both saying very similar things. That if UK SMEs got 1% more efficient, 1% more productive, in 5 years, that would be adding 55 billion into the economy. And what AI can give us isn't a 1% efficiency gain. It's like 10 or 20. And these are not, these are like easily accessible. So with those things in mind, what I'm going to talk about today is how we can be more productive and more efficient by using AI and start building that real capability inside your team or inside your business. Hello, if we've not met before, I'm Crispin. I'm the CEO of the Coders Guild. I was a software developer from the olden days. I started developing software in the late 90s, and then I kind of moved into training. The Coders Guild was actually like a hobby project that got out of control. But now I've had 10 years experience training people in things that are really quite difficult to learn, difficult technical things. So technical vocational education, understanding how we learn complicated things at pace and to deliver business value kind of became my thing. And a lot of that nowadays, as you may expect, is about AI. And the interesting thing, and I think the super advantageous thing about our current situation is that when we talk about AI adoption or digital transformation using AI, the technical bit is not the difficult bit. The tools are actually very, very easy to learn in comparison to something like JavaScript or Python. So that's a great place for us to be. You can find me on LinkedIn with the by clicking the link below with my face on it. But ways in which to contact me are also on this QR code, should you wish to. So in developing training and apprenticeships, 10 years ago, I worked with the government to create the software developer level 4 apprenticeship. And last year, I worked with Skills England as part of the government to create this new apprenticeship for AI and automation at level 4. And because I got to lead that R&D, I got to do it in the way that I wanted to. So there was the kind of I did the standard things as well. I had my colleagues, my friends and colleagues at Skills England helping me like formulate the research into an apprenticeship standard that comprises of skills, knowledge, and behaviours. But instead of thinking about this as like as an educational endeavour, thinking about it as a qualification, I kind of did it a different way. So first of all, I started talking to SMEs, particularly SMEs that were in high growth. So SMEs that are growing, and I talked to them about what their pains were, what their ambitions were, what were the things that were blocking them with AI adoption, what were the things they're hoping to gain. But so I did a lot of research in specifically SMEs. Now, generally, when these qualifications are put together, the apprenticeship standards, they are always they're almost always focused on enterprise companies. It would be your KPMGs and your Deloittes that are the big businesses behind what goes into these. So it was really important to me that in this instance I focused entirely on SMEs. So what I did was I kind of and it wasn't just interviews either. Innovate UK helped out a lot with collating and conducting more quantitative research about digital skills problems and upskilling, but also primarily, AI adoption in SMEs in the UK. So what I did with all of this information, then I kind of designed an AI adoption pathway over 12 months, or like a digital transformation exercise. And then I thought about what sort of training would go in along that journey. And then I reverse engineered that support training and support plan into the qualification. So I feel like that is a much more sequential, practical thing that is aligned to the business needs that we saw come out of the research. And so this is what that looks like. So this is what it looks like in my imagined scenario, but also how we deliver this in practice. We're looking for, as with all of our apprenticeship stuff, we are looking for the fastest ROI that we can get. So what's going to happen in the first 6 weeks? And then by 3 months, 6 months, where are we at? So we look for things that we can do really quickly without much technical know-how. And a lot of this comes down to being organized and not just in how the technical tools are set up, but also in how we operate as a team. We start to look at things like how data is structured and what things need to change in order to get incremental benefits and improvements as we go through this 12-month period. We also, at the 3 month and the 6 month point, we're putting in we're starting to measure the impact that we're having, and the apprentices themselves are then reporting on what that return on investment is. We would also look for more of the team adoption of the processes and the tools that we are developing, the automations that we're creating. And there should be multiple, by 3 months in, multiple workflows should be automated and integrated to AI. Then for the remaining 6 months of the course, we're looking for more complex automations. We're looking for increased savings and benefits in efficiency and productivity. And also the measurement of that is continuing. So we're developing KPIs where we can prove our success and also challenge our assumptions and guide us in strategically what we're going to do next. Another, I think, thing that is that's important for how this works in practice. All of the things we do at the Coders Guild are about practice. What became super apparent quite quickly from working in this field is when you're teaching or when you're communicating, developing skills and knowledge in complicated technical things, you don't learn that from a short course. you don't learn it from books or from copying. You learn it through practice, and you learn it through talking about that practice and reflecting on it. So all of our I can't remember how to say the word, a pedagogy, I think it is, which is, that is how we construct and support learning as an organization. And it all comes down to practicing things in a real environment as much as possible, and also being able to justify what we're doing and talk about what we're doing, what we're planning to do, and so on. So that's how we construct the learning. So in a lot of apprenticeships, especially if you do them with in further education, higher education, they are a day a week is college day. We don't operate like that at all. All of the learning is kind of incorporated into the business practice that the apprentice is doing. So if you think how that looks like inside a typical month, there would be a group practical session about a framework for doing things, or some additional understanding. There would be practical group or pair or singular activities during that thing, led by a professional expert. But at the end of that session, there's going to be some sort of takeaway task. Go back to the business and find out more about this. How do you do that? How could you improve that thing? Where's an opportunity for you to use what you've learned today inside that business for gains? And then we come back towards the end of the month to group coaching, whereby we are then exchanging those ideas with our peers and getting peer feedback. That means we're learning from other people doing similar things, but maybe in a different industry or a different sized organization. And all of this peer learning is really, really important to that learning cycle. And also as I said before, the technical things in this qualification are not the difficult bit. The other parts around it, there's all things around how we structure and look after data is super important to maximizing the efficiency and productivity of automation and AI. There's also skills involved with this qualification that are about product management and product vision and product ownership, project management and time management, business analysis, data governance, and process. All of these things are the things that you learn in practice over time. There's kind of two routes where we use this apprenticeship, and the first one here is about upskilling existing stuff. And lots of people don't realize that you can use the skills and growth levy, the apprenticeship levy as it was called before, to upskill existing staff. People think that, or assume, you've got to hire in a young person to be that apprentice, but you can use this to train someone to bring automation and to bring AI into your operations, your delivery, your marketing, your biz dev. They can work across all sorts of departments. The qualification itself was deliberately designed to work across the multifaceted, all the different areas of business, and still be able to deliver value in all of those areas. It's not just one person who works in IT that is doing these automations. We can all do them ourselves. Every single person. AI is part of everybody's job these days, and certainly it will be in the very near future. So upskilling existing staff. This is also the most people are doing this at the moment. Most people are using this apprenticeship to upskill existing staff. One of the key advantages to that is that person will already have domain knowledge. So they will already understand your team, your business. And that's an incredible advantage to getting the really fast ROI. The other route, of course, is that you're building a transformation team by hiring in new staff. It's a great opportunity for providing a career path for young people in your local area, because they like to be called we like to refer to them, I think, as digital natives. People who have grown up in this digital world are super au fait. We're and very quickly able to use new digital tools, But of course, what they're lacking there is the domain knowledge of how to construct improvements. So a year-long path to practice that and develop that domain knowledge. You can see how the two things work in tandem really, really well to maximize the benefits to the team and to the business. So to talk a little bit about how this is funded, the good news is that the government pays. We have a skills and growth levy. So larger firms pay into this levy fund. And it's also supplemented by other money from the government. It's held by the DWP. And then we access that funding to do the training. So how that funding works in a nutshell is you as the employer or your employer will pay your wages, pay your on costs, your pension, all of those sorts of things. That's nothing to do with us. But the training is paid for by the government through the levy. So there is, in most cases, if we can get a levy transfer, that's when the bigger firms can't spend their levy, they transfer it to SMEs. But worst case scenario is 95% of is paid by the government, and it's just a 5% charge to the business. So for this apprenticeship, that is about £750 over the full 12 months. There are loads of extra incentives as well for hiring young people. Some of those are managed locally, but there are also, you can get 100% training fees covered in certain circumstances, particularly for hiring in young people. An extra bit about cost, I think, is like when we think about the opportunities that we have here for these productivity gains, for adopting AI into our business. So it's very tempting, I think, to hand all of that off to a consultant, and they could come in and even if they're a really good one, they could come in there. It's going to take them some time to understand your business. They're going to help you develop some automations, or maybe build a tool for you that contains AI, but often there's no knowledge transfer when that consultant leaves. The capability leaves with them, and any sort of maintenance can result in more fees. Whereas I feel like a better option for us is to build that capability in-house. You could do the same, you could do them in tandem, but building the capability gives you as a team, as a business, gives you resilience, it gives you retention, and it gives people better job satisfaction. Involving the people who are going to be using the AI and the automation in the design of those things is really the best way forward. We have an extra part on this as well. So when we think about AI adoption or a digital transformation into automation and AI, that it does require leadership. So you could have maybe you're working with a consultant who could provide that leadership part there, or maybe you need to upskill someone in your team. So we have a specific course here, AI for SME leaders. So that is a short course. It's priced at £985 per person over 6 weeks. We have payment plans for it as well. And what this does is work alongside the level 4 apprenticeship. So a leader in an organization, we will train them in what they need to know to understand the capabilities of the tools and the possibilities, and then be able to make good strategic decisions with what that apprentice or apprentices what they're actually working on. So the course is just 6 weeks, 6 sessions, 1 session a week for 6 weeks. And at the end of it, you will have a good understanding about the main tools that you're using, the strategy that you're opting for, and also you leave with a 90-day plan for what's going to happen for the next 3 months, which essentially is the first 3 or 4 months of your apprentice in place. So that you see how those two things work together to define and monitor and progress that 12-month plan. So, final bits for me. We've got the thing that we've got to realize. The thing that we've got to accept is that the way business works has shifted. It's already happened, and the organizations that invest in their people now are going to be the ones that define what comes next. And this is the moment to get ahead of it. That's all from me. Hopefully, there's some questions in the comments. I forgot to prompt for questions, but Rob, I see you're back. Have we got any questions?
Yes, yeah, we've had one DM'd via Francesca. Can you share examples of what companies are practically doing with this qualification and what changes they are making?
So, not yet, but next week, yes. So, if you remember where I had or back to the slide where I mapped out what happens in the first 6 weeks. So, our first cohort, this is a very, very new apprenticeship. It's literally only been live for weeks. So, our first cohort are coming up to their 6-week point, at which point they are then producing the reports of what they have done and the changes that they have made. I can tell you, from our experience as an SME using AI and the things, we're basing a lot of the learnings or the teachings in the course from the learnings that we have had, being a team that's been really focused on automation for a long time, and also been adapting and bringing AI into our systems and processes for a good while. Sorry, what was remind me of what the actual question is if I just go off and answer the question that I think it is.
Okay. Share examples of what companies are practically doing with the qualification and what changes they are making.
Okay. Well, so I think let's use an example of us as a team. So one of the things in onboarding employers and learners onto an apprenticeship is it is very paperwork heavy. There are loads of things that we need to do in terms not just of preparation for people to make sure that the apprenticeship is right for them and that they are going to learn the correct things and that we are going to be able to deliver value to them as our customer. But also there's a lot of compliance. There are things that we are mandated to record and have signed, and bits of exchanges of information that we have to make sure that for our audit purposes we are keeping track of. And that historically was a very laborious process of going backwards and forwards with different documents. We always did all of the paperwork as much as possible ourselves, but it was still a very operationally heavy thing of like maintaining who's at what position and who's got what documents and what needs to happen next. And the thing that we have developed is we now, through talking together as a team and deciding what we need at what point, reevaluated how that process works as a piece of service design, and then incorporated a Claude project into it, whereby now we can drop redacted meeting transcripts into a chat that then will build the documents for us and track who needs to do what, and then give us the tasks back. So that whole toing and froing, all of the friction that we had is now removed. And then what we have is a much faster process where we get to spend more time being people talking to other people.
Okay, so we've got some pre-sent in questions from our Eventbriters. One is this suitable for business owners and leaders?
So the level 4, so part of the funding rules for apprenticeships is if you're the business owner, you don't have a boss, so you can't get apprenticeship funding. However, that's one of the reasons that we put the additional course in. So the course for leaders tells you what you need to know as a leader. That will give you enough to be able to lead that change. And then the idea is you'll get someone else in your organization to be doing the doing. You get to learn from the things that they're doing as well over time, but the thought process behind that as well is that the leaders in the organizations are often quite time poor. So we have designed something that responds to that. So what do you need to know? We can tell you the stuff you need to know, 6 sessions over 6 weeks, and you will be comfortable, and you will have a 90-day plan that you are happy with, and you will be able to lead that change. So even if you could get the funding, I don't think it would work out for you. I think there would be too much work for a leader to do the level 4. I would say again that, or just interject here, that there was, if you've listened to some of our past webinars, there was a proposed level 5 AI for leaders apprenticeship unit that did get released, and we were invited to deliver it, but we will not be delivering it because it is 90 hours of a leader's time, which no leader in an SME has, and also that we'll be able to deliver far more beneficial training and information in that 6-week course as we would do in 90 hours of someone's time for the government funded route.
Okay, what, if any, are the skills prerequisites or any technical requirements that you need to have before starting the apprenticeship?
Well, I would say just basic stuff, really. You know, like the great thing about large language models and automation tools is they're very intuitive. So most things, if you can use spreadsheets basically, and 365, PowerPoint, Canva, I don't know, all of these sort of like basic tools, if you can get around a web-based interface, then that's enough. I think if someone was coming in digitally illiterate, it would be difficult, but not impossible. But I think if there was someone in that position, then I think we would recommend some prerequisite training to get them up to speed. But vast majority of everyone coming onto this course are digitally literate, but they're by no means technical people. They are not coders. They're not people who are running automations left, right, and center in most cases.
Right, that's it for the questions. And just to give us enough time to have a quick chat about our upcoming webinars, which are the more technical, about Claude Co-work and Claude for Leaders. Do you want to give us a quick précis of what people can expect from these 2 webinars?
Sure. Well, Claude Co-work, that I'm going to press gang Rob into coming into dual presenting with me there, because Rob has done a lot more with Claude Co-work on a business front than I have. So that is, I think, like a quick overview of the sorts of things that we have done. But really, it's about getting started. It's about understanding your own business and your own needs. It's more of you can see people doing stuff with Co-work, some of the influencers, but what we want to do is get you to do stuff that's useful for you rather than copying what other people have done. The Claude for Leaders, this is kind of a new entry that's coming in from requests from people. Of like, we did a webinar earlier this month about how we did Claude for Teams. So this is a similar thing to that, but like thinking about how do you get Claude doing stuff for your organization as a leader. So this is more like broken up into the things that you should be doing as a leader to get AI adoption started in your organization.
Brilliant. Well, I look forward to joining you to talk about. For me as an operations person, Co-work is just such an invaluable tool that works alongside me, and the way the Coders Guild is set up to focus a lot on processes and automations and reference documents. To have co-work doing all that heavy lifting is a godsend. So I look forward to demoing it on the 13th of May. That wraps it up on time, 30 minutes, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you, Crispin.
Thanks a lot.